All right, welcome everyone to another Digital Summit Marketing Spotlight. I'm here with Desiree Martinez,
Whoop, whoop. What up, everybody?
social media lover of all things YouTube and video podcaster, right?
That is definitely the me. That is who
And
I am.
more importantly, friend of Digital Summit, one of our more popular speakers, as rated by our community. Spoke at our last event here at Digital Summit Go, was with us last year. Is going to be speaking us with coming up here at the Digital Summit at home on Content and Social here February 24th and 26th. So if you have not yet purchased a pass, what are you waiting for? Get your pass. So let's do a quick intro, and then we'll get to it. I have some questions for you, Desiree. So Desiree Martinez, she's a YouTuber, podcaster, and she's with All in One Social. She's worked with hundreds of businesses and brands to help them grow by improving their content marketing. She knows what it takes to build a community and get leads through a very noisy newsfeed. She's a mom of two, self-confessed nerdy wife, and she says there's always time for margaritas and pedicures.
True that.
I can relate to the margaritas, but not so much the pedis.
I mean, I just feel like you feel like you're missing out on one of life's pure luxuries. But
Yeah,
you do live somewhere where sandals aren't a part of your everyday life, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, I will say there's a restaurant around the corner that you can. That's part of this mani pedicure place, and you can get a drink from there and walk over and sit down. You get a nice foot massage and pedicure. And I have done that with my wife, so I will.
Well, that's nice.
Nice little date night for us, yeah. So tell us about your background and give us a little bit on your company, All in One Social, and what's been keeping you busy right now.
Yeah, so I've been a social media marketer since around 2009. I feel like I always tell people I've been doing social media marketing since like before social media marketing was a thing people like understood, trusted, believed in, that sort of thing. I can probably very like realistically say for like the first probably 2 to 3 years of doing this, I was just a constant explaining to people like what social media was and why it was important and answering the what's this Facebook thing everyone keeps talking about. And so I just spent a lot of time figuring out what businesses need, how you put together messaging, what stories were, and how the social media landscape worked in regards to helping businesses grow in this space. And in 2015, I was already a military spouse at this point, and we had moved to Texas in this town that we lived in. Just didn't like hiring military spouses. And growing up a Marine Corps kid, this was a common problem my mother faced with not being able to get work because of who she married and not having any control over where she lived. So I was like, hey, I wonder if I can pair teaching military spouses how to be social media marketers while also making money off of it so that we can kill two birds with one. We can help businesses grow, but do it for you services while also teaching military spouses how to be social media managers and supplementing their family's income. And so I started All in One Social Media, where we do exactly that. We focus on do it for you social media marketing services while putting military spouses to work anywhere that they're stationed around the world. And one of the things that I really love about our mission is being able to create this like community of military spouses that we all understand our lifestyle. We all understand the lingo. Like there's never like this like education or having to figure out like what something is and explain to people what PCSs and TDYs are and why we're all going crazy because our kids are crazy and our husbands are gone and we're being forced to move across the world against our will. And so it's been really great to have that over the past 5 years. We've helped dozens of military spouses with supplementing income, learning a trade skill. A lot of them have gone on to get full-time social media jobs in the towns that they live in or when their husbands separate from the military and they need to go get work. It's just been really great. So I'm really, really into that. I got into YouTube for this exact reason. My husband, we got orders to move from Texas to South Korea, and I needed a way to keep growing my agency and get leads. And so I was like, I'll use YouTube to teach you about social media, overwhelm them with how hard it is, and they'll come to me trying to figure out the solution, and then we can share the mission and convert the business. And so that's what we've been doing since 2017, and I really like it. So that's where I am right now with where everything is.
That's a great story. I didn't know a lot of that. So first of all, thank your husband for his service. I also have my brother is a former Marine, so hoorah to the Marines out there.
My dad's a Marine, so
love it. Let's keep going here. For your session this month at the Digital Summit at Home, coming up, Content and Social here, February 24th and 26th. The session description mentions that you say always creating content is exhausting. Talk
Yes.
about that a little bit and explain that.
We have entered into this world where we feel as business owners that we have to be in this constant state of creating content. I can't tell you how many gurus and people that I meet on the regular who are always trying to figure out like how they're supposed to create all of this content while also like doing their actual job that the content marketing is supposed to be bringing leads to them for. And so when you have to be creating what feels like new stuff all the time, because your social media posts have like a 24 to 48 hour shelf life, it gets really frustrating and draining and exhausting. And it gets to the point like where your messaging starts to falter, you start to get bored with it, you get stagnant with it, your stuff gets stale, or if worse comes to worse, it's you just kind of stop doing it. And so what we're talking about in my session is a lot about like how you can work smart, not hard, by creating by creating more by doing less. And my methodology is definitely around video marketing. So again, I found great success and truly fell in love with the idea of using video as the foundation of everything that I'm doing with my business. And while I'm producing 2 videos a week, I have clients that have been able to have success by just using 1 video every month as the pillar of all of their marketing for that month, so that they're able to get their message shared, seen, and discovered, while also being able to take that piece of content and convert it into other forms of content so that they're working smart, not hard.
Yeah, I get it. That's great. Thanks for explaining that. One of the other things you kind of mentioned about in your session is you already talked about it, the one pillar for the month. So, or the video being the pillar for the month. So we'll skip that question. I'm going to throw up a link here to a link you have on your YouTube channel about 50 videos every business needs to make. Can you give us a little preview of what someone could expect if they follow that link and they watch that?
So my content is geared towards helping small business owners just like you guys who are just trying to figure out like what to do with everything. And one of the things people are always asking is like, what is it that I make? What do I do? Like, what videos am I supposed to be doing that are convert for me or that I need to do? And some people just really need guidance and a roadmap. And this list is really helpful because it tells you what you should do. So you have things like a this or that video, like your product versus this other person's product, or like, like for me, I'd be like Facebook versus Instagram, live streaming versus YouTube, like that kind of like this or that versus behind the scenes education, sort of fill in the blank stuff, just trying to make it really easy and remove the barriers to entry that people have around their content creation process. The easier that it is for you to make stuff, the more likely it is that you are to make it and be consistent doing it.
I love it. And so YouTube is obviously where you do a lot of your work, right?
Yeah, very much.
How do you see using the videos you might create on YouTube? Let's take the example of the one video, that's your pillar for the month, and creating snippets. How does that then work maybe across other social channels to where you're kind of doing a content distribution plan?
Oh man, well, when you come to the presentation, I have a whole list and I like walk you through how each of them works and like what you're going to create and all the things that you support it. So you have to think though, like if a picture is worth 1,000 words, how much could you do with a video? And a video is just a great way to connect and build trust and let your-ness shine through so that people can relate to you and decide if like you're the right person for them. Back in the old days of social, you would just like post something up and like a bazillion people would like it. And then there also became this era of like very like filtered, like this very big wall between a brand and a business and like the people that would be the customers. And now I believe that we are truly in this era of like no filter, keep it real, be yourself, because people want to do business with people that like they see themselves in, that they can get along with, that they can learn from. And so while I know social media managers are definitely like a dime a dozen nowadays, I'm different in my own unique way with how I present my information, what I have to offer, and usually tends to be like how I speak and inflect and give my imagery with. And so I always describe myself as like sassy mom. Like I'm getting it to the point. I talk really fast, but it's because I have such respect for your time. I don't want to waste it. And so I just really try to flow through that process to connect with people. And that's what video does. And so if you can take that video where you're doing all that stuff, you can easily turn it into so much more.
And when you're working with clients, what are a lot of the things what are big topics that are on mind right now when they're trying to figure out things in social and how they can do things with video? What are the big topics you're helping them through it?
Well, a lot of the times it's like, what do I even do? How do I even have time for this? Why is this even important? And so a lot of it's like breaking down their barriers. And a lot of times I think nowadays, like social media is about connecting and being consistent. And it's like, well, how do you create that imagery? What does that look like? And like from our do it for you side of our house, like we really dive into like the full YouTube management, telling people what to record, recording for them, creating all the supporting content. Like it becomes this whole like extra production to be trendy while also trying to share your product and be relevant with like what algorithms want, while also balancing like who you are as a person and a brand and making sure that that inflects in your voice. It's just a lot of balancing all of that and figuring out like what works and what doesn't. Testing. Customers hate testing because sometimes it doesn't work out the way they want it to. And then they're like, I wasted money. I'm done with this. Or I tried this social media thing. I'm out. And I'm like, no, it's not how marketing works. You have to try things.
Yeah. Wouldn't you rather know that it didn't work?
Yeah, or wouldn't you like to rather like in the YouTube world, we have a saying that you're just a couple of tweaks away from going viral. And so it's kind of like that's what marketing is. Like maybe like everything that you're doing was right, but maybe the time of day you were posting was wrong. You know, or maybe like you're creating great content, but rather than posting it on Facebook, you should be posting on Instagram. Like it's figuring all that kind of stuff out and, you know, being relevant and real and consistent.
Yeah, and I think depending on the kind of content you're creating, it never hurts to try to reuse some content. I've been a part of brands where we've created content. Maybe it didn't work as we expected. We reuse it later, perhaps in an email newsletter or something, and then it performs better the second time around.
Oh my gosh, there's like the reusability of content is just like massive. I have a really good friend. Her name is Rachel K. Albers. And she does a really great job. And it's the thing that I love what she does. She has a show on her YouTube channel that she does called Awkward Marketing, where she's basically poking fun of marketing. Like there's like no way around it. Like she's just doing that. But one of the things I love about that, what she does with her content, how she reuses it best is she turns her clips into GIFs. Now she's a comedian while also being a marketer. So she has this like extra flair and a little bit of extra to her. And so her GIFs are absolutely hilarious to the point that she's had hundreds of millions of people use her GIFs from her existing marketing materials. And that's just like straight up just face recognition. Like, oh, you're the GIF girl. You're the girl that's like the crying face on Instagram, or the like, you know, the crusader for the what a boss boy movement and things like that. It's just really fun to see that the kinds of ways that you can reuse content, and people get so wrapped up and just like, I got to create this one piece of content for this thing that's so perfect, but it's more than that. And you can do more with it, and figuring it out is, I think, part of the fun.
Yeah. Unlike your opposite of your friend, I'm a marketer who likes to think he's a comedian.
No, she's legit comedian.
My wife would probably disagree. There's a lot of groaning dad jokes in my house. So speaking of which, one of the things in your bio, you talk about a mother of 2 kids, right?
I am.
2, and a military spouse. We just found out that you're juggling a lot. You're running your own business. How has COVID impacted you, and how are you dealing with it? And do you feel like you're at a place where you would want to offer anybody any tips? Drink a lot of margaritas. Is that it?
That's how I survive it. Margaritas. Honestly, for me, it sucked. Like it's been really hard on my family. My husband is actually separated from the Air Force, and he struggles with PTSD, and so COVID's been really hard on our family in that standpoint, just because of the mental health of our family, how it is. Right. I sit as the breadwinner in my family, like by choice, not by like circumstance or anything like that. And so it's really good. Right. I've been working from home since 2009. So this hasn't like worked using Zoom. Like my favorite part of COVID is everyone's adoption of Zoom, because that means I don't have to like drive all over places or do uncomfortable phone calls, or people get it now. They're like, okay, we can just like bust this out in a Zoom meeting and be done. Not this whole like extra song and dance thing that happens from networking and stuff. But as far as like what I've done, like that's when I take advantage of I'm very rigid with my time. Like I know when I can do things. And I always start my day doing my most necessary pieces of work I have to do, like creating videos, answering emails with leads, talking with my team, doing the things that require the majority of my brain power and my skills and talents. Because with me, when you have kids at home and you have someone that you live with who has an extreme mental health issue, you have to know that your day could get turned over at any moment. And so that's why I have built the business the way I have and the way it's structured, the way that it's structured, so that if I have to step away because of an emergency or something's going on or my kids need me or my husband needs me, I'm able to do it without a problem. And some days are not perfect and some days are great. So it's just working with what you have and doing what you can, one goal at a time within the limitations that whatever your life has. Make sure whatever you're doing, you build around it and get ahead of things as much as you can. And if you have a lot that you're doing and you have a lot that you're juggling, I really encourage you to make sure that you're outsourcing appropriately so that you're able to make sure that nothing gets missed. So like one of the things I'm currently trying to do to make our business run smoother is I'm bringing on a project manager to make sure that all the little details, all the little tasks that have to get done for all of our bigger projects are being managed. So it's like, I see this hole, I'm going to fill it with the right person. That way, if something happens, like I'm good to go.
Yeah. Good project managers are worth their weight in gold.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. So along the same vein, I've done a couple presentations with you as far as on the MC hosting side and seeing you present at the digital summits. And you like to wrap up with what I kind of inspirational slides and sort of pump people up. Like what made you add that to your presentations and your repertoire?
I don't know. It just feels like the right thing to do. Like if I could live my life in like movie quotes and have like a soundtrack that played with every movement I had, like that would be like my best life. And so I love being able to use again, part of my brand is just like sassiness, directness, forwardness, funness. And so I always like to wrap up with what I'm doing because people get really overwhelmed in all of our presentations. I can't think of a single conference I've been to where you walk out and you could go walk up to anybody and say, hey, what did you think of the presentation? And most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, they will say something in the vein of like, this was really great. And I have a lot I have to process, or I have a lot I have to go do now, or I have to go plan, or like, oh, that's a lot I have to do. And so I always like to leave people with a little bit of comfort that's like, you can do this. And so that's why like my favorite one to end was I have this cool Runnings gif. It's the I see pride, I see power, I see a badass mother who don't take no crap from nobody. And I'm like, that for me is like my biggest thing. I love that quote. I think it's important. I think anyone can use it to like lift them up and know that I believe in them, because I do. I believe in everybody that comes into my life through whether it's just for a moment through my presentations or my YouTube channel, my email list, or even like become friends with me. You're capable of doing so much. And I'm hoping that I'm helping you by giving you a roadmap to make it as easy for you as possible.
That's great. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. You're not unlike a lot of the speakers that we have Digital Summit. Everyone's just I find that they're big hearts and doing things with the community and amazing people. And we're glad to have you. Hey, on the platform we're on, in case people don't know, we're using StreamYard. And you got pretty excited and nerdy when you found out it was on StreamYard. And then I found out before our discussion here that you're a ambassador for StreamYard.
Yeah.
So tell us about that, and then how you ended up with StreamYard, and are there other platforms that you evaluated?
Yeah. So for me, when I was trying to figure out this whole live streaming thing, I was actually living in South Korea at the time. And so what I was doing when I launched my YouTube channel is I had my YouTube videos that were tutorial based, and I also included podcasts. I had a podcast that was called Marketing for Your Boring Business, and I would do it every week. And I wanted to turn it into a live stream when we were moving back to the States. We were only in South Korea for a year. And so when we moved back, I was like, I want to turn this into a live show, hopefully to increase awareness and views and downloads and stuff. And so when I was doing that, I needed a platform. And I had checked out things like Ecamm, too complicated, OBS, way too complicated. And I was actually checking out BeLive, and I was doing a lot with it. But what I didn't have the ability to do was custom graphics. Now I have a art background, like that's what I studied in college. I've been using Adobe products for 20 years. It's really important that whatever I create online has a really good visual component to it. And that was really important to me. And I couldn't get that with BeLive. And so one of my buddies was like, you should check out the StreamYard thing because they have this thing called an overlay feature. And I was like, all right, let me see this. So I went in and they were still in beta. And so I reached out to them. They gave me a free account to test some stuff out before I purchased. And I love that I could create like news style graphics to put on my overlays. So like, let's use our frame we have here, just the two of us. I have our names across the bottoms, like our bottom thirds. And then like up here in the corner, I would do like a sponsor graphic. And then like, I would do like the isolated person, then they would have the bottom third. And then I would have the corner graphic here. And I would do a lot of things with it. Or like, let's say someone had a book and I wanted to have this side-by-side thing. So I would make it so like their book could cover my face for the overlay. And then they would be on the other side. So it just got really creative, like how to use the overlays. And they really liked it. And one of the things I do on my channel is I'm always talking about tools and resources and ways to create content for a social strategy. And live streaming is a fantastic social media and content strategy method. And so I did a whole series about live streaming, talking about like what you do, what you need, how it works. And then I highlighted some tools, and one of them was how to use StreamYard. So it was always one of my really well-performing videos, but and I continue to talk about it. I've continued to use it. I use it for like my podcast recordings, so many things. I was fortunate enough, the last thing I got to do before the pandemic was I went to Social Media Marketing World, and Gage was there. Gage is one of the co-founders and CEOs of StreamYard. And I got to spend some time with him and we talked, and I did a really fun interview with him about like what people should know about the platform, tips and tricks. Like it was just one of the first times he had ever gotten from behind the code and like on camera and like that kind of way. So it was a really fun like interaction. And one of the things that they were missing is tutorials about their tool and like, and users doing it. And so when COVID hit, everyone was trying to figure out, what do I do? And live streaming just like blew up, and it just, my channel blew up from it. It was just a good timing. And so I leaned into it very heavily because when you see something working, you lean into it. And I just started making all of these videos about StreamYard, and I created overlays that people could download to use for their own StreamYards for free to build my list. And I went to them and because of that popularity, other live streaming tools were coming to me, asking to like sponsor my content and do paid stuff. And I was like, huh. And so I went to StreamYard and I said, hey, look, this is happening. These are my numbers specific to what you're doing with StreamYard. Here's what my email list is, just specialty for StreamYard. We should do this. Like this shouldn't even be a question. And so I was one of their first brand ambassadors that they brought on board that does content specific to solving live streaming problems. I talk to my list and send them updates, and I help them launch their VIP brand ambassador program and their affiliates and stuff like that. So it's been a really great friendship. And the end of 2020 for them was insane. They hired their awesome new CMO. They've been hiring like crazy to fill in roles, very specific things. And then, of course, at the start of the year, we got the announcement they're acquired by Hopin. And so now they have that whole like attachment. For those of you that know, Hopin is a virtual event platform. Yeah. And so like they're going to be doing a lot more integration with live streaming with it. And it's just really great. And so it's two platforms with very awesome missions that are simple to use, and from a consumer end and from like a user end, it's just awesome. And so it's just been a really good partnership and a really good tool that I get to use and teach people how to use, because a tool oftentimes is so much more capable than what people see it on for the service. It's sort of like you come for the live streaming, you stay for the features and the podcasting capabilities and the collaborations and the record only and the screen recording, like all of it that come into it. And so it's just really great. I really love it.
I thought it was something like come for the party, stay for the cannoli.
Something. I'm sure it's something crazy like that. Like come for the party, stay for the booze. Like there's a whole
there's
but for me, like it's really like you come for the reason you need it. Come to live streaming, stay for everything else that goes with it. Plus the community is great.
I would say too, for anybody that's listening, and you can pass this on to your viewers and stuff too, is the simplicity of the program. of StreamYard, this platform. The simplicity of it is you don't have to have a tech chops or understand video or, like you said, graphic design. A lot of it's right here on the platform. I've been using the controls and playing producer as we've been talking. It's easy to hook it into your Facebook or your YouTube feed and go live. There's so many great things about it.
Yeah, with the built-in features too, you can do so much. There's literally zero barrier to entry. You can use it in a browser. There's nothing you have to download. You can do it from your mobile phone. You can do it from your desktop. As long as you have a solid internet connection. And they even only say, like, you only need like a 5 megabyte upload speed. And the majority of us that have any kind of solid internet usually have something over 20. So it's really great. It really is. And this didn't mean to turn into a commercial for them. I just really like the tool.
No, it's good. It's good. I wanted to make sure we did touch on that. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm going to end the live broadcast. Thanks everybody who's stuck with us and is still listening in. We're gonna end here. More to come at our event coming up in February. Desiree will be there as well as other awesome speakers. That's February 24th, 26th. Check it out, digitalsummit.com. Navigate over to conferences. You'll see it there. If you can't make it in February, then check out one of the other conferences. We hope to see you there. Thanks, Desiree.
Bye. Thanks. Hope to see you guys at the end of the month.